guys, welcome back to episode 10 of Sports and Stuff. It's a milestone episode for us, episode numero dos. It is...
No, not dos.
What is 10? DAs. Episode DAs. It's a good start. Good start to episode 10 here. It is February 24th. I'm not going to try to say that in Spanish. We're here in beautiful Chapel Hill. I'm here with my guy, Riley Cregan. What's up, Riley?
Oh, what's up, guys? Hola.
Oh, man.
Wow. That's just... You do know what dos is, right?
Yeah, that's two.
Okay, good.
That's two. Riley's actually fluent in Spanish, by the way.
Yeah. Very. Mucho.
That's good.
Muy.
Dang. Riley is quite the conquistador.
Ooh. See.
I do see. Okay, so rough start, but we're gonna we did an experiment last week and it didn't work. Didn't work. We split the podcast into two separate episodes, and we weren't fond of the results. We were trying to see, what people listen to more, but they each got the same exact amount of listens. So either we have, half of our fan base listen to one and half listen to the other, or listenership, not fan base, or everybody was just listening to both. Either way, we're going back to one episode for the day. We're going to do sports and stuff. Sports, we got a pretty good lineup for you. Speaking of good lineups, who has one? What team has one? It is the UNC Tar Heel basketball team. We're deep. We're ready. We're rolling. We're starting to look like the national championship contender that we thought we were before the season started. What do you think, Riley?
I agree. Pretty good week. If y'all weren't following UNC basketball, we knocked off the number one team in the nation. We'll get to the implications of, they didn't have a certain player playing the entire game, but beat them by 16 points. Then we went and came back home, and we beat them at their place. Then we came back home and played the number 16 team in the nation and beat them by 18. That's a pretty good week.
It's a great week.
We're number 8 in the nation right now. Nevada's number 6 they lost.
Tennessee's number 5 and lost.
Tennessee's lost. We'll probably jump to 6 because we won't pass Michigan.
I think we do pass Michigan. I think we're number 5.
I don't think they'll let us pass Michigan because we got destroyed by Michigan.
We destroyed Duke, so it's a big mix-up. We're number 1 in the ACC. Also, Duke is number 1 in the ACC. Also, Virginia's number 1 in the ACC. So,
let's think about just looking at the team though. Early on, our problem was we relied on the 3 too much, right? And we couldn't
play perimeter defense.
We couldn't play perimeter defense, so we couldn't get our top recruit to produce. Well, this past week, we've probably made like 6 threes maybe total in 2 games. Yeah. And we won by a combined margin of 16 plus 18, not great at math. 34. With the 6 threes, because we just dominated the paint in both games with a Duke team that they didn't have Zion, but they still have a lot of height, and then a Florida State team that has 7-footers.
7'4"ers.
7'4"ers occupying that paint, and we saw an eruption on Saturday from Nasir Little, looking like the guy that everyone kind of expected.
Yeah. Also, something that we have that we've been missing is our double-double machine, Luke May. I've never been huge on Luke. I'm always, expecting him to fail, which is my fault, and Carolina fans probably hate me for it. And he was proving me right through the first half of the season, but he's really stepped up in ACC play like he always does. He proved me wrong. I'm glad he did. He destroyed State, which I loved. He destroyed Duke, which I loved. and he's back to producing at a high level. And I expect him to maintain that level of production for the rest of his senior year and to help lead the Tar Heels to their 7th/8th Natty Championship.
7/8. What are you not?
Some people don't count the 1924 one.
Okay, you're not counting on that. Okay.
I mean, we did get a letter in the mail that said, "Oh, by the way, you're national champions in 1924."
Yeah, I mean,
it count when we're comparing them with Duke. That it definitely counts.
there's a banner up there.
Yeah, but
yeah,
it
we
doesn't
know
really count.
Okay. Anyways, we've won 10 of our last 11, and the one time we lost is when Luke May was a no-show against Virginia.
Right.
If Luke May shows up, we're going to have a pretty good chance at winning the game.
Yeah. We have a chance to do something that's not commonly done by a UNC team, which is going undefeated on the road in ACC play. Actually, we might be undefeated no, we lost to Kentucky in Chicago. Undefeated on the road in ACC play. The only teams we have left on the road are Boston College and Clemson, two subpar teams that I think our team should handle pretty easily. Knock on wood. Yep, there it is, the knock on wood. That's not a sound effect. That's Riley knocking on my desk. I wish it was.
Yeah, that'd be a feat. And we got. Well, let's talk about Wednesday night game because it was, not that our win was a headline, but something else was a headline on that night. So let's talk about.
Was it all the fun that you and I had on Franklin Street together? Was that the headline?
That was my headline.
That's right. My headline too, buddy. Me and Riley ran into each other in a mob on Franklin Street.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
It was. It was a great night. It was a fun time, but I woke up to a couple notifications from ESPN and CBS, and they didn't even say anything about UNC. What were they talking about, Adam?
Duke falls to rival UNC without Zion. Or I think that's
UNC overcomes Zionless Duke.
Yeah,
that's another one.
Yeah.
Another one was bad night for Duke, bad night for Nike. Zion goes down.
Yeah, the old nothing like the headlines. Zion or Nike stock takes a major hit, and they lost what? Sorry about that. They lost about 1.5% on the stock. That's an average stock day, by the way. It was just happened to be. I mean, I'm not saying it was definitely correlated with that event, but it's not like they lost anything.
Yeah.
It's like they didn't go out of business.
You think Nike stock is just like perpetually increasing? Like it never goes down? There's never any bad press for them? Like, yeah. I mean, bad press is bad press, but it wasn't like their stock dropped.
Yeah. And no one's really blaming Nike.
Apparently Zion wore the same pair of shoes like the entire season.
Yeah, he's been wearing them since the start. I know that he hasn't worn them in every game, but I'm sure he's been wearing them in practice and stuff. Let's not forget that the PG2 is recommended for players that are less than 225 pounds, and he was wearing them. Why is he not wearing LeBron's? They're literally shoes made for a bigger athlete. You're asking to turn an ankle. You're asking to bust out of your shoe. You're not asking for exactly what happened because I've never seen that. Jay Billis live said that he had seen that happen before, but not very often. I had never seen it, but I mean those shoes were not made for someone that's built like Zion.
No.
It's not Nike's fault, and I'm not like a Nike supporter or whatever. I don't really give a crap, but. It's not Nike's fault. It's Zion's fault that those shoes broke the way they did, in my opinion. I
agree. Let's talk about the actual game before we get to the implications of Zion that everyone's talking about.
Yeah.
So Zion goes down,
33 seconds.
33 seconds into the game. Take me through your opinion of how we played, how Duke adjusted or didn't adjust.
Well, look, the common argument is Duke still has 4 McDonald's All-Americans on their team. Without Zion, Duke had the number 1 recruiting class in the country before Zion committed. What Carolina did was they made the perfect game plan to expose all of Duke's weaknesses, and they did just that. And in all honesty, I'll tell you whose fault it was that Duke lost so hardly. I'm going to say it falls on the shoulders of Jack White, it falls on the shoulders of Marquez Bolden, and it falls on the shoulders of Mitch O'Connell. And the reason I say that is because Cam Reddish and RJ Barrett combined for 60 points of their 72 points. All these guys had to do was maintain the pace and get rebounds and play scrappy defense. They just had to not hurt Duke's chances. And they went out there and they hurt Duke's chances. Jack White, after the Carolina game, he was 0 for 25 on his last 25 threes from that point. Mitch O'Connell could not make it. Trey Jones, the proverbial, grease to the Duke tires or the Duke axle, had 3 points in 40 minutes. I mean, Marquez Bolden, the number 16 center in his class coming in, the number 16 player in his class, the number 1 center in his class coming in, got unbelievably outplayed and out-hustled by a kid from Alabama named Garrison Brooks. Marquez Bolden had 0 points, 2 rebounds. Garrison Brooks had 15 and 9, maybe. You'll have to fact check me on that one. I know he had 15 points. You just can't. I mean, you're a stacked team with, decent role players. Sure, your best player goes out, and I think that it's fair for Duke fans to say that they would have had a bigger. Garrison had 14 points and 8 rebounds, by the way. 14 and 8 compared to 0 and 2 from Bolden. I really do think it's a fair point when people say that if Zion was there, the game would have been completely different. I believe that, but the thing is, a good team will win when their best guys are out.
Yeah, there's one person you didn't mention who could bear the weight besides just the players. What about Coach K?
Elaborate.
I mean, how reliant are you on one player that if he goes down, you can't find a way to at least be competitive? It's not like you just lost by like 2 or 3. You lost by 16 because one.
At home, yeah.
And is it just because of one player, or was there a flaw in your game plan coming in, and did you get completely outcoached by Coach Roy Williams?
Well, he absolutely got outcoached. But I assume that the thinking is, this Duke team, I was talking about it last week, this Duke team is not running an offense. They're running an NBA-style freelance offense.
What was it? Coach K is a genius
he's
offensive genius.
He's an offensive mastermind for not running plays with these 3 guys on the court. It seems to me from my uneducated eyes that he maintained the NBA free flow style offense with just Cam and RJ, which it worked really well for Cam and RJ. But the other 3 guys on the court, whoever it happened to be, you had majority role players on the court, which most teams do. But I don't think they were running a real offense. They were running a haphazard one.
Well, my thing is, you go 8 for 39 from 3.
Mm-hmm.
39 attempts from 3.
Mm-hmm.
You're not making them. That's, to me, like, you got to adjust. Like you're not, the shots aren't going in. You got to start going down low. It's not like we have some scary people in the paint.
Yeah.
And just because Zion's out, you're just going to completely take the paint out of your offensive attack.
Yeah.
Trey Jones scores most of his points in the paint. He's not a 3-point shooter.
That's true.
I just feel like when Zion went out, he felt like, he kept the free flow, but he also it felt like Duke was settling. It felt like
they were doubling down on 3 points.
Yeah, now Zion's gone. Oh, we can't go in the paint because he's our paint presence.
Yeah.
Like, as a coach, you got to communicate that. Be like, hey, drive. Like, RJ, Cam, like, yeah, they had a lot of points, but they had a lot that, I mean, they shot a
they were
lot of
inefficient.
threes.
They were inefficient.
4 for 12 and 3 for 11, respectively, from 3.
Mm-hmm.
Those shots shouldn't have happened. You could go drive in the paint, dish it to, Marquez Bolden for an easy dunk so the guy doesn't end up with 0 points. Like, there's ways to adjust to that I just felt like he never even attempted.
Yeah. To be fair, they were far more efficient. They were twice as efficient as Carolina was from 3. Carolina shot 10%. Granted,
but we shot 20 versus 39.
Exactly. We weren't reliant on it. We were just destroying it in the paint. I mean, it was honestly unreal how many open layups I saw Luke May take. Like, and we missed some. Like, we missed a few. I remember a Cam breakaway layup distinctively at the end of the first half.
Yeah. And then Seventh stole it and Garrison dunked. Now, what I don't understand, my other adjustment I would have made if I'm Coach K, is like, hey, Jack White obviously can't guard Luke May. Yeah. It's not like we don't have other people out there. Like, it's not like they don't have heights. It's not like Luke May's 7 foot. He's 6'9".
Right.
You could put RJ on him. You could put Cam on him if you wanted to. That'd be a little different.
Well, it didn't work well for RJ because Luke was really having his way. You almost have to put Bolden on him and put Jack White on Garrison.
Yeah.
Or even run a zone because we're shooting 2 for 20.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of adjustments that I just didn't see at all.
There was no sense of urgency from Duke in that game.
It makes me feel like Coach K was almost like, oh, Zion's gone. Like, it's just there's no chance.
The whole team, aside from, in my opinion, RJ and Cam, seemed deflated.
Yeah.
I mean, kudos to RJ and Cam. Seriously, they played an outstanding game. And
no one's talking about
it. And that's the frustrating thing. And I don't know if I can handle it as RJ Barrett.
RJ dropped 30 on Saturday. I didn't hear anything about
it. Yeah.
Yesterday.
No, literally, I was watching the game. I watched the end of the game, and he got 3 questions, and 2 of the 3 questions were about Zion. Like, how were you able to perform like this without Zion? And he's like, how about this? I'm the number 1 fucking recruit. Like, that's how I did it without Zion. I'm an NBA player. I'm young James Harden. I'm better than Tatum was. Like, I respect to RJ for keeping his composure, but I just don't know that, like, I don't know that I could take that. Like, RJ was supposed to be the guy, and he outscores Zion. Yeah, he's not as efficient, but he looks more like an NBA player. Zion looks more like Zion, but I don't know. It bothers me how little credit Cam and RJ get sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Cam, you would think Cam's a scrub the way some Duke fans talk about him.
Oh, my God, yeah. And he's one of the best three-point shooters they've had in the last 5 years.
I know. I mean, I've in my office, there's one Duke fan, mostly UNC. There's one Duke fan. And you would have thought Cam Reddish, the way that he was talking about it, was just this like scrub role player, and like it's just like there's no appreciation for him. It's kind of like he's like the Chris Bosh in the Big Three way back in the day. Like
that's like, a very good example.
Yeah, he's like the Kevin Love in the Big Three there, like the guy that kind of just gets written off,
the forgotten son.
Yeah, that's still a solid player.
Yeah.
And not just a solid player, and for a college standpoint, a well above average college player.
Right, absolutely.
And the other question a Duke fan asked me was like, well, think about it. What if you had lost Luke May in the first 33 seconds? And I was like, well, I would have been fine if we had RJ and Cam to rely on. That's not a fair question because of what we have on our team versus what Duke has on their team. Yeah. Like, I'll give you Luke May for RJ and Cam.
Yeah. And honestly, I think that the game would be closer than 16 points if we didn't have Luke.
But I don't know if Duke wins that game necessarily.
If they have Zion and we have Luke, we're losing. Or if they have Zion and we don't have Luke, we're losing. But let's talk about the Zion situation.
Yeah, so he's first of all, it's a minor, how do they phrase it?
A minor knee sprain.
He walks off the court on his own power.
Did he come back on the bench? I don't think he did.
He didn't, but I saw no reports of him on crutches or anything like that. He didn't play yesterday in their first game.
But he was jumping off the bench, so.
So does he the question that has arisen, I don't think it's really coming from Zion or Duke, but it's coming from the media, is should Zion sit out the rest of the season? Because, he can make so much money in the NBA, and he shouldn't risk his being injured. What do you think?
I got to tell you, 3 days ago you asked me this question. I say absolutely he shouldn't play another game of basketball in college. And that statement isn't coming from a place of, I don't want Duke to succeed, and I'm, money-centered. I think it's an anti-NCAA standpoint because, I believe that players are exploited. I believe that, that players deserve a little bit more than what they're given. At the very least, I think they should have the right to their own likeness because Zion would be making millions off of his right now, by the way. But then I heard Charles Barkley on TNT, and I'm not a huge Charles guy.
I heard that.
I think Charles can be really dumb sometimes, but the thing he said, I don't know if you saw it on TNT, he was saying that, some of the greatest players of all time played 4 years in college. And where people are saying that Zion should sit out his first. And, basketball players play basketball. He's there. He went there to play, and he should play, and he's going to play. And I think he's going to play, and I'm glad he's going to play. Because a basketball game, I wish he would have played the whole game. I wasn't happy when he got injured.
I was not. I was pissed because I knew that was going to be the headline.
Yeah, genuinely, seriously, and Carolina fans, you can crucify me for this. I would have rather lost to a Zion team than beat them without him. Because now what do you do? What do you do if he comes back on March 9th and they win? Everybody's going to completely discredit our win against Duke. They're going to say, oh, yeah, sure, but, they weren't at full strength. They're already saying that. If we beat the Zion team, sure, absolutely. Everybody's going to say, okay, that's going to validate the first win. But that win in the eyes of the media, in the eyes of Duke fans, and honestly probably in the eyes of the selection committee is not valid until March 9th. And I would have rather us lost to a Zion Duke than won how we won personally.
I mean, I was like, please come back in, because that's what I thought. I've said from the beginning of the season, you did too. You kind of retracted your statement last time we talked, but I said that we would split. I felt confident that even if Zion came back in, that we could still win that game.
Absolutely.
And so that's why I wanted him to come back. Am I mad that we ended up beating Duke? Would I have, taken it back for a loss? I'm not sure about that. Just because, in a year or two, we can just say we split last year and not got swept, if that could be a possibility. No one's going to really go back and be like,
that's fair.
Thinking of the future. But yeah, I agree with the premise of what you're saying. Like, I wanted Zion to come back because I wanted to beat him at full strength because I knew what the headline would be. But for me, it's like, hey, you know what? I still got to rush Franklin. I still got to have a really fun night, and got to see us still beat a really good Duke team and build some momentum for this season that helped us go and knock off Florida State too, and some confidence. You're right though. If they come back and we lose to Zion, the Zion Duke team, then it discredits our win in the eyes of the media, selection community, etc., which sucks. But you know what? I hope he's back, and I'm ready for that game too.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Hopefully I get to go to that game. It'll be my first Carolina Duke game as a wee little tyke in Kinston, North Carolina. We watch that game religiously, and it is by far and large the most fun sporting event of the year for me, And I get to watch my team win a Super Bowl every other year. But Duke Carolina every time is just so fun. I mean, I even had fun watching, I guess it was because it was my team that was up. But, I mean, that's one of the least competitive games I've seen since probably 2010 when Carolina was god-awful. And, I just had so much fun, the build up for the game. It was at 9:00. Me and my boys, we were out and we were pre-gaming and we just had so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, the whole campus, everyone's wearing UNC jerseys to class. Like, my 8 a.m. Thursday class gets canceled just because that game's going on. Like, the whole campus is buzzing. I go to Harris Teeter, get some beer. Like, no one's in the grocery section. Everyone's in the beer section with our Carolina jerseys on. Like, it's just it's like great rivalry, and it's same goes both ways. Duke loves it too. As much as I dislike Duke, it's just a really well. I don't know if respect is the right word because
I think there's respect there.
I mean, there's respect, but I mean both ways. It's a rivalry. And it's probably the best one in sports.
Yeah.
And we're gonna see a great version of it because unfortunately the headline's gonna be Zion's back. But UNC's going to just hear that.
I hope it goes from Zion's back to Zion's on his back because Luke May is going to put his nuts in his face.
Yeah, dude, if Luke May dunks on Zion, I will. That's just not going to happen.
No, I don't think that the security could keep the students off the court if that happened. Like in game, we'd have like a Stanford situation. Oh, the band's on the field. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see March 9th, whether February 20th counted or not, I guess.
Yeah. It's fun. I hope he comes back. And then, I saw the Charles Barkley thing, too. He's just like, man, when did it become so much about money? And, like, yes, money's important. Obviously, it's they there to make their living, but it's also about the game itself, and that's a good point. And that's why we were just talking about that rivalry, how pure that, unites a lot, unites a campus, unites a fan base on both sides. So,
yeah.
And by the way, if Zion that falls out of the lottery, he's got an $8 million insurance policy. Did you know that?
Yeah, if he was below 16, he gets $8 million. That's pretty clutch.
So even if, in my opinion, even if Zion, like, God forbid, tore his ACL, it's some terrible injury, right? Even if that happened, yes, thank you. He'd still go top 5.
Yeah, that's what I was talking to my friend who's a Duke fan. He was like, Zion could drop dead and he'd still be a top 3 pick.
Yeah, exactly.
They'd have him just to put his jersey in the rafters or
just
something.
In case he reincarnated or came back to life.
He'll probably jump out of his casket.
But was March 9th, excited for that, but gotta keep track. We still have 3 games before that.
we have Syracuse on Tuesday, big game. Also, Duke is going to be in Blacksburg playing Virginia Tech, and they don't know if Zion's going to play. And I think if Zion doesn't play, they're going to lose. Personally, side note: Blackshear, their center Blackshear is going to drop 30. By the way,
if Zion doesn't play,
no, if Zion plays, he's dropping 30.
Oh wow!
Because Marquez Bolden is going to be on him, and it's going to be a freaking shit show. But Virginia Tech loses if Zion plays. But Virginia Tech wins if he doesn't. But also, Zion wouldn't have affected our game. We play Syracuse
Tuesday. By the way, I feel terrible for Jim Boeheim. To him.
That is rough.
That sucks. Syracuse at home Tuesday, our second to last home game.
Then
at Clemson,
then at Boston College, and then home against Duke, and then we're off to win the ACC tournament.
Yep, and we're off to spring break.
Yeah. Nice. Nice. What are you doing for spring break?
I'm going to Cancun.
Cancun?
Yeah. What are you doing for spring break, Adam?
I'm going on a cruise, buddy. I'm going on a cruise. Okay, so here's a funny story. Me and my friends, we decided that we wanted to go on a cruise. This is the story of how my spring break plans ended up getting more and more insane. So, to my knowledge, it was about 10 of us, 10 guys that I hang out with on a regular basis. We decided to go on a spring break cruise. So we booked the cheapest one we can find, and it's a 5-day Norwegian to Cozumel, Mexico, and the Great Stirrup Cay in the Caribbean. And then I found out that we're this was not to my knowledge, but we were part of a massive group of over 100 UNC students that are going, and we get this crazy group discount. So we have free drinks the entire time for $100. We pay $100, get free drinks for the entire time. I'm gonna drink that worth in about 6 hours. So then, like a week later, after I find that out, I get a notification on my phone that the cruise that we booked has been named the official Old Row Cruise of Spring Break 2019. And we were like, oh my God, this is going to be
And Layla's like, what?
Yeah, Layla was mad. Well, she wasn't mad. She was like, you're going to have to be careful. And I was like, yeah, it's going to be a trashy cruise.
Oh, yeah.
But it's going to be super fun. And then, I don't know if you know this, I just found out my cousin is getting married.
On the cruise.
That Sunday after. And she lives in Vegas. So I'm getting off the boat, docking at Cape Canaveral. Then I'm Ubering to Orlando, hopping on a flight to Las Vegas for 3 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm going to be hungover as hell on that plane. And I'm getting to the wedding, and there's an open bar. And then I'm going to get hammered again.
And that hangover will go away.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I'm going cruise, Vegas. I'm skipping my first Monday and Tuesday classes because I won't be back until like 9 a.m. Tuesday, and I'll be so tired that there's no way I'm going to make it to class.
That's awesome. Not quite as cool, but I'm going to Cancun for 5 days with my girlfriend.
That's really tough, man. I feel bad for you.
And then afterwards, though, I do have one thing cool happening as my girlfriend got me tickets to the Sixers Charlotte game.
Oh, that's cool.
Charlotte, the Tuesday after spring break. So we're going up there, staying overnight, and eating somewhere in Charlotte and watching the boys. Hopefully Joel Embiid will be back by then. And watching the boys probably beat the shit out of Charlotte, or hopefully, I guess.
That's pretty cool. You guys should, we're curious, what are our listeners doing for spring break this year? Go ahead and tell us on Twitter, @Sports and Stuff. SP0RTS, the letter N, and the word stuff.
And if you're too old for the premise of spring break, maybe tell us the next sporting event that you're going to. We'd love to hear.
Yeah. Or the next wedding you're going to.
Yeah. Invite us.
Yeah, we'll come. And if there's any leftover food or alcohol, we'll eat and or drink it.
Yep, or you can just send it to our address.
Which I'm not.
Which we're not gonna say. But DM us if you're serious.
Slide in the DM. Serious inquiries only.
Okay. I think we had one more sports topic that honestly we'll just touch on for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we'll get to some stuff. So NBA, we just feel like we haven't talked about it in a little bit. A couple things that are really relevant to talk about is I saw this stat. I'm sure a lot of people saw this stat. LeBron's with the loss last night to the Pelicans. LeBron's Lakers team is under 500, and that's the latest a team has been under 500 in his career since his second year in the league. 2 questions: how concerned are you with the Lakers about missing the playoffs? And second question, whose fault is it that they're going to miss or could miss the playoffs?
I think I might surprise you here. I'm very concerned. And I think that if they miss the playoffs, I'm willing to blame LeBron. Some people are going to point at Luke Walton. Some people are going to say, he doesn't have the help. And, those might be fair. But let's not forget that LeBron missed 18 games for an injury that usually doesn't take that long to heal. Granted, he is older, but I think that he took his sweet time, and maybe that's better for his career. But there's no way it was better for this season. And I'm not really sure how I feel about him saying I'm going into playoff mode. I wish he was kind of always in playoff mode. You should have been in playoff mode when you came back from your injury and your team was looking awful. I also think that he had a pretty big hand in the rift that was caused, that kind of set them off track for 5 games around the trade deadline. I'm not someone who subscribes to the theory that LeBron is the GM of wherever he plays, but he is a superstar player, and just like every superstar player, he has some pull when it comes to trades and what the GM does. Like they're gonna ask LeBron, and I think that he didn't do enough to make his team feel like a team, and now he's calling out his team's mentality. And I just don't know that that's that fair. Far be it from me to say that LeBron won't make the playoffs, because I think he's, God's gift to basketball, and I think he very well could easily, go finish the season with like 1 loss left. But, losing to New Orleans is tough.
It's awkward.
Yeah, and it's really awkward. I don't know. I hope they do it for 252, for Brandon, for Reggie, for my childhood dreams of LeBron being solidified as the GOAT. But it's gonna hurt him. It's gonna hurt him, and that's what hurts me the worst.
Another big LeBron fan here, and I have kind of similar feelings. I really didn't hit me when he was going through the injury. I was like, wow, why is it taking him so long? And then, the trade deadline stuff started to come out, and I was like, oh yeah, I mean, they gotta get Anthony Davis, but it really didn't hit me until I don't know if I heard this or someone told me this or what, or if I just thought of it myself, but I thought about the Cavs, and I thought about how LeBron came in there and multiple times traded away multiple players, and then whether or not it was his fault, basically got David Blatt fired, right? And then we heard rumors about Ty Lue getting fired as last year. Why is everywhere, and even back at the Heat, Eric Spoelstra was like rumored to maybe get fired in the first year. I was like, why does everywhere LeBron go, people get traded away and then coaches get rumored to get fired in the first year? And I was like, man, it's a business, but like that's kind of, that's a little rough. But it really hit me this year. Cavs, like he ended up overcoming it, and he showed why it was the right moves, right? Why Ty Lue was the right move, why the trades he made was the right move. But then, with the Lakers, I'm not sure, like you said, it's better for his career. If he goes in there and gets these guys traded away and gets Luke Walton fired, who's really going to want to come and play in LA?
I don't know.
And that's the other thing is like he's having some difficulty attracting a superstar, and I also wonder why.
I disagree with that. There was really only one superstar that they were looking to trade for in this trade deadline, and they literally tried their very hardest, and it was the Pelicans that screwed it, and the GM of the Pelicans got fired right after that. So it was such a waste. About LeBron being, a coach's, death sentence, I think that just comes with the territory of having the best player on your freaking team. Like, and let's not act like LeBron is sending his coaches to the guillotine. He's had 2 coaches while he's been a player get fired. It was when he was at the Cavs first. I mean, Eric Spoelstra lost the finals with, arguably 2 of the top 5 players and 1 other top 10 player. Of course, when you lose, things happen. But he didn't get fired, and they ended up winning 3 championships. Then he gets to Cleveland. Oh, 2 championships? 2 championships. That's right. My bad. Went to 4 straight finals. Then he goes to Cleveland. Again, David Blatt is terrible. He was there to help rebuild the Cavs. The Cavs were rebuilt because LeBron was there, not because David Blatt was there. His purpose as a Cavs coach had been served, and he gets fired. Then Ty Lue comes in, and he's still the Cavs coach, and now Luke Walton hasn't got fired yet. And if he does, That's what happens when you miss the playoffs and you have the best player in the world on your team. Like, I think the premise that he gets coaches fired is just so flawed. He's literally the best player in the world, and if you're not winning, it's not like he's not producing, because he's been producing for 15 years.
I agree. I just thought about it. I mean, I'm a LeBron fan, but that's the argument from the other side, and it made me think a little deeper on that. I never really thought about that angle. And I agree that he's doing things that are better for his career. Now, from a Lakers standpoint, maybe not LeBron, but from a Lakers standpoint, you have to start questioning whether or not they can attract a free agent superstar. You have to.
No, I disagree, dude.
They miss on everybody last year.
They didn't miss on LeBron James.
I mean, yeah, LeBron James.
Who else is? I mean, Kawhi got traded. Paul George, yes, but he it's not like he chose to go to a different place. He chose to stay. They missed on Kawhi, but he got traded.
They're gonna miss on KD. They're gonna miss on.
That's because there's so much, like, Anthony Davis can still sign there. Kawhi can still sign there. Klay Thompson can still sign there. It's way too early to say that they should be worried about free agents.
I don't know.
Last season...
Kobe had the same issue attracting superstars towards the end of his career.
But that's because Kobe is an asshole.
I'm just saying.
I mean, Kyrie could easily end up there.
Kobe and the Lakers had issues attracting. We'll see what they do this offseason, but I think they're in trouble.
I mean, this is a Magic Johnson and LeBron James Lakers. This is not a Jeannie Buss and Kobe Bryant Lakers. This is a completely different, concept of the most storied franchise in basketball.
Who are they going to get this summer?
I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, but there's names floating around. They're saying that Kyrie is interested. Anthony Davis is interested.
Anthony Davis doesn't. It's not up to him. Why would the Pelicans trade him this summer and not trade him when they had the chance?
I don't know.
I'm just saying the Lakers are in an awkward place because if they don't get a superstar this summer, LeBron's going to be a year older and he's going to have the same team.
There is pressure. I'll agree with you in saying that there is pressure on Magic Johnson to land a superstar. I'm not so far as to say that they should be scared that they can't get one. I mean, hell, Draymond Green just signed with LeBron's agent yesterday. I mean, I hate Draymond Green.
I'd kill myself.
But he's a superstar.
All right, let's get the stuff.
All right. Sorry, that got a little heated.
I love LeBron. I'm just saying the Lakers. It just seems like he went to LA more for his. I mean, I don't know. Is it more for his basketball career or his off the court career?
It can be both. And he said it. He feels like he's proven himself. He doesn't feel like he has, he's not chasing the ghost in Chicago anymore. He said it. And going to LA, he won one for his team. He did everything for Cleveland that he needed to get done. He got that monkey off his back. And, he's trying to become a mogul. And it's working, by the way.
I'm so excited for the
Space Jam 2. What is it, July 17th, 2021? Or is it June?
July, I think it's 16th.
16th. That's right. The calendar emoji has the number 17.
That's
how
I remember it.
The calendar emoji has the number 17. Okay. That's enough of that. I'm really sorry that we went over our allotted sports time, so we're going to fit the stuff time in a little shorter. Our topic for the day for stuff is pets. We got intense last week on the stuff portion. And also, just if you didn't see the tweet from our Twitter at SP0RTS, the letter N in the word stuff, I had a very good conversation with my friend Landon Moody on Twitter about, the problems with higher education. And we talked about some solutions and what, kind of the political atmosphere in America. I would really recommend you go read it if you were interested in that subject. But today we're talking about pets. We went a little bit more lighthearted. So, Riley, do you have any pets right now?
Well, I guess my family does. Honestly, the ones I would name as my pets have pretty much like all dead or gone.
Rest in peace.
But my family has a dog that they got after I left, a kitten that they got after I left, and then there's one cat there that was there when I was left. My dog, or my sister's dog, really how I qualified it. My little sister's dog is named Leo.
Leo
He's
barks.
kind of an idiot, and he's loud. Then we got a kitten named Cookie.
I love Cookie.
Cookie's cool, and then I have a cat named Summer that is just kind of perpetually scared of everything that goes on in the world.
And that's your cat.
And that's more my cat. And there's a reason she's had a few mishaps. Maybe we'll share those in a little bit. But first, tell me about your pets, maybe. I know you had a cat that
yeah, I've had 2 cats. One died tragically when I was a senior in high school, I think. And then I had a cat at college, and he ran away. And then he came back, and he ran away again. And then one of my friends found him, and now it's her cat. It's fine. I'm over it. He was kind of a jerk to me, anyways. I'm not that upset anymore. But now my family has 4 dogs at home.
Wow.
Yeah, they're 2 outside. One's name is Odysseus. I named that one. Then the other one's name is Duke. I'm sorry, my dad named that one. He's a Duke fan.
Oh, jeez.
And then we have Samson, our Chihuahua, and Chewy is some sort of terrier. But
Nice.
two small inside dogs, 2 big outside dogs. And Layla has a cat named Molly, which I guess is sort of...
Rachel has a cat named Molly.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty crazy.
Wow.
Worlds collide.
Maybe it's the same cat.
Yeah. A clone.
What? That's crazy.
All right, well, you mentioned your cat died tragically. Would you like to share?
It wasn't that tragically. It was tragic to me. We were very attached.
Yeah.
It was sad.
I
was devastated.
had a lot of pet deaths through my 20 years of life, unfortunately. But my cat's name was Snuggles. That was the one I was close to. And I remember my dad, not exactly as attached to I love animals, I like animals.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah.
And my dad likes animals, but he doesn't really get as attached as maybe, I would. So one time, I left my house to go to college, and Snuggles was not feeling well, and she was sick a little bit, and she was the vet thought she was depressed because I left, and then she was like peeing everywhere and like couldn't control her bladder, and could barely like food, she'd throw up a lot. So my dad called me one day and was like, we were just talking. And then he was like, yeah, well, once we got back from putting Snuggles down, then I was like, what? I was like, you put Snuggles down? And then he's like, oh yeah, your mom didn't tell you? I was like, no. And he was like, yeah, she was sick, she needed to go. It's kind of quiet now without her. It's, he's like, it's a little sad, but she had to, it was her time. And I was like, well, y'all could have fucking told me.
Gee whiz. That's so sad.
Yeah, that's one. Well, you have any stories? I got plenty of them, dude. Summer. Okay, let's talk about Summer. She's had a traumatizing life. One time I was sitting upstairs. We used to have 4 cats. Now we have 2. But they're not the same. We had 4 totally different cats, except Summer. She's the only survivor from these 4. I was sitting up in my room, and this other cat named Lucky, who passed away about a year ago via my mom running her over.
Rest in peace, Lucky.
Comes up, and it's just like meowing like crazy, and just like won't stop meowing like really loud. I was like, Lucky. I was the only one home. I was like, Lucky, what do you want? I thought she liked to eat, so I thought she just wanted food. So I was like, all right, fine, I'll feed you. And then she stops at the garage door, which is where the their food is, and she just won't go out there. And then I just hear like it sounds like a wild animal like out there. It's like wow, 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 wow. Like, so loud, dude. Let's just spit on the mic a little bit. So loud. And I open the door, and it's Summer, and so evidently, you know how garage doors when they go up, there's like what would be the front of the garage door is now sitting.
Yeah, it's like
like
a roof.
It's like a roof, but there's a gap between obviously the actual roof and the garage.
Yeah.
So Summer was apparently sleeping on the garage door while it was up. My mom left, shut the garage door. Right, so she was hanging from the garage door by one leg, just hanging there. And she's just like, wow, wow. And I was like, I didn't know what to do. I'm standing by the door. I'm like, oh my god. And I hit the garage door button, and it opens up, and she just slides down. So like, she did a pretty good job breaking her fall. Like she grabbed onto the ledge, and then but then she did a flip and landed, kind of. I don't know if she landed on her feet or on her back or what, and then just limped away, ran away.
Oh my god!
And I was like, oh my god,
that story is insane.
Yeah. So, but she was fine. Like then,
she didn't break her leg.
No, an hour or two later, she was just walking around. But she's so traumatized now, because not only that happened, she also has fallen asleep in my mom's car, and my mom had on top of my mom's car. My mom has been halfway down our street with her on the car, and she just hears scratching. That's happened twice.
Your mom is really not very observant.
No. My mom also ran over a cat, like I said. So she's had a very traumatizing life. So the garage door, if the garage door moves, she is the fuck out of there. She's terrified. So
she's learning.
Yeah.
She should just stop sleeping in the garage. Yeah. It sounds like.
Yeah. So yeah, that's an interesting story about Summer, and then also how Snuggles got put down.
That is crazy. Man, you have some wild stories. I don't know. Most of my stories are from, I don't know.
Like good things?
Yeah. Maybe I just block out the bad ones. The worst I ever felt, okay, so we used to have this dog. His name was Tucker. He was a golden retriever. He was super cute. I loved him, but I was like a little kid. He died when I was in 6th grade.
Yeah.
And one time I had a milkshake, and Tucker. Let me preface this. Tucker was old at this point. I was probably in 4th grade, so he was 2 years away from his death. He was an old guy, and he was laying outside, and we have this deck, and it's elevated, and he was laying in this hole that he dug to keep cool. Dogs do that. And I couldn't see Tucker at all because I was standing on elevated surface and he was standing at the bottom of that elevated surface. And so I was just walking, and I didn't want the rest of my milkshake. And so I just threw it over the side and poured it all over my dog. And it was not if the dog was young, it would have been really funny. But Tucker laid there, and he looked up at me why did you do that? And I felt so bad, and I had to hose him off. And I was on the verge of tears the whole time because I felt so guilty. It was like I had bullied an old man.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was rough, but
that's tough.
Yeah, Tucker was a good dog. Except for he dug everything, and my dad would get furious.
No,
but
that's what happens with my current dog.
Yeah, it's pretty funny though. It's funny watching my dad get mad at that.
Yeah, same with my dad.
Yeah.
He dug on the first Christmas, not this past Christmas, the Christmas before that we had him. And my dad just goes out there cursing and yelling at him for we're open presents and But
dads get so mad.
Yeah,
they really do.
I have a terrible story. Even worse was we had this brand new kitten named Boo, a really sweet kitten. And I was in 6th or 7th grade, and I was getting ready for school, and I went out to feed the cats, and then I was coming back in, and I just looked down by the door, and she's just laying there having a seizure.
Oh, gosh.
So, yeah, I had to pick her. I picked her up, and, I was in 6th grade, I started crying.
Yeah, obviously.
And I was like, what's going on? And then she just died in my hands.
Oh, dude, you have the most traumatic
and then,
stories.
and I just went to school. I went to school right after that. Just like that happened. I cried. My mom, like, they all came out and like saw. I watched as like she died, and then they called the vet, but there was nothing they could do, and I just went to school, and like the whole day, like I just like during break, I was just like sitting in the hallway, like with my like head in my hands, like because it was just like the worst thing that ever happened.
Your brain couldn't handle it.
Yeah. That sucked. Man. Yeah.
Maybe you're like Summer. you're gonna see a cat and get freaked out. And it's just gonna die on you.
I don't know. I have a history, a weird history of like. So when you said pets, I was like, oh, I got plenty of stories. Not all uplifting. Well, really, none of them are uplifting.
Oh my gosh, I do like the memes where it's like, when I die, I want to be reincarnated as a dog at a white family's house, like just because white people freak out so much about their animals.
Yeah, I could be a cat dude and just like sleep all day.
Yeah, that sounds pretty nice.
Yeah, and just eat food, sleep, go outside, like kill a bird, you know?
Yeah.
That'd be chill.
That sounds pretty chill.
Yeah. Honestly, dude, cats are like serial killers if you think about it. They all go out there and they have food. They don't need the food, but they just go and
they're hunting for the sport of it.
That's true. They're hunters.
Yeah.
They're hunters. It's a better way to put it.
Well, I gotta say, that was not as uplifting. I was hoping for a much more lighthearted stuff.
Okay. Favorite, like before, let's hop off here, but like, last thing, tell me your favorite story or favorite thing about pets in general.
I like it when you're laying in bed and they come and hop in bed with you and they like just nuzzle right up under you. Yeah. And they're just like all warm. That's my favorite thing.
Yeah, I like that. I love them doing just stupid shit.
Yeah. That's what I thought about saying. They do some stupid stuff.
Like I love when cats stick out their tongue and then
hold it.
Can't get it back in.
Yeah, that is so funny. That is so funny. My aunt's dog, his name is Ben, and he's old too and blind. Or no, he's not blind. He's deaf. He might be blind. I don't know. But anyways, he'll go and he'll get himself in between two pieces of furniture and then act like he's stuck. Like he'll just be standing between two chairs and he won't be able to get out from it.
He acts like he's stuck or he is stuck?
He's stuck because he doesn't think he can move. Like someone has to, like he thinks he's stuck. He's not actually stuck because he's just like standing there like next to furniture.
I'll leave you with this one of there's this giant. What my oldest brother and his fiance have a pug named Nacho, and we got them this giant
pug named
house.
Nacho?
Yeah,
that's really cute.
They had this giant, they just bought a house, and so we got him a welcome mat with a giant pug on it. Mm-hmm. And when we had it in our house, we'd hold it up to our dog Leo, and he was terrified. Like he'd hold up, he'd just like freak out, run away. And like hide behind some furniture. So if you just hold it up and just like put the pug like right in his face. I don't know. It's just like stupid shit like that. Really, that's what I like. Like, dude thinks it's really a real animal. Yeah. It's a flat welcome mat.
Dang, Leo, you're so dumb.
Leo's dumb.
Well, okay, it got a little bit more uplifting.
Yeah. Oh no, the other thing with those. Why do dogs think when you bark, when you go, and they're looking like right at you? How can they really not tell that it was you that made the noise? And they're like, oh my God, there's another dog here.
They don't have directional hearing or something. Yeah. Or like you're playing a dog on your phone and they absolutely lose it.
Yeah.
That's fun.
All right. Yeah. Well, go ahead.
Okay.
Hopefully that was a better note to end on.
Yeah, that was much better.
Than
we were trying to go for not serious, and we went with pet deaths. Traumatic pet deaths that shaped you as a man. Well, we're coming up on spring break, guys. Keep pushing through if you're a student. If you are an adult in the workforce, you're making money. Love it. Live it.
Do it.
We'll see you guys next week. I don't know what we're going to talk about, so I won't preview it.
Numero what episodes next week, Adam?
Once.
Yeah.
Numero once. Okay, guys. I hope you have a great week, and we'll talk to you next time.